Welcome. Thank you for serving as an elected or an appointed official. Serve neighbors and your friends here in the city of Wichita. This is an overview of the Ethics Advisory Board and the policy, Council Policy 39, that applies to you. The policy was adopted in 2021 and then updated in 2023. It provides for the code as well as the ways to enforce the code, and as well as an ethics officer position to respond to your questions and also to guide the board as it makes decisions about ethics complaints. The policy requires that you receive ethics training. So that's what this is. This PowerPoint, this review, as well as online, are additional trainings from the city attorney. So you'll want to watch or listen to each of these PowerPoints and videos to make sure that you understand your responsibilities as an elected or an appointed official. This page does give you a QR code to that page on wichita.gov. It is the ethics policy, ethics advisory board page, and it does include the board as well as the policy, the training video links, as well as a dashboard of all the complaints and complaint form. If you want to think, well, what does a complaint form look like? Or maybe I want to file a complaint. The form is there, the instructions, as well as the history of past complaints for your information. Highlights of the highlights of the policy. First, read the Code of Ethics, especially sections A through P of Council Policy 39. That all applies to you, and you'll want to use that guidance from A through P to conduct yourself in a way to maintain public confidence. Your job is to serve constituents with equity, granting no special favors nor discriminating against anyone. Some people do not realize that as a member of a public body like this, you do have a duty to vote, unless you have a declared conflict of interest. So if you have a substantial interest, that's a specific term that as you read and watch the city attorney's training guidance, you will understand what that term means. And if you have a substantial interest, then you need to declare your conflict and then abstain from voting. And do definitely watch the video for advice from the city attorney on that. A couple more highlights for you is do not assist or represent the private interest of another person or business before any commission or board. Now, if you have private interests that have nothing to do with your official position for the city, but it has to do with, say, your property, your house, something going on for you personally, you can talk before another board or commission. What you do not want to do is represent someone else, a relative, a friend, a neighbor, a business associate, whatever. You do not want to represent someone else in front of a city board. You do not also want to influence city staff, unduly influence city staff on projects that benefit private parties that you're acquainted with or have been lobbied by, talked with, etc. Do not use your position or any information you're privy to because of your private gain. Now, that private gain may be you personally, but it also includes your relatives. So make sure you read the section of the policy that defines relatives, because it is more than just your spouse and your kids. A few more highlights. Do not participate in decisions or transactions in which you or your relatives or your business have an interest. Now, if your involvement cannot be avoided, say something just comes up and you didn't expect it to, so make a full disclosure of your association. For example, a full disclosure means say it out loud in a public meeting. Tell the public, hey, hold it, I need to step away from the bench because we're now talking about a policy that directly affects the business of my spouse, for an example. Do not make any promise that would require taking action beyond the scope of your authority. So a few do nots there, and hopefully those make some sense, but read the policy to make sure you fully understand it. Now, just to review the gifts section of the policy, a gift is generally thought of as over $150 in value from a specific donor over a calendar year. So that could be a ticket to a big ball game, but it also could be a series of lunches over a calendar year from a certain business, for example, that add up to over $150. So be very careful about accepting a gift like that. That would be a violation of the Code of Ethics. A gift is also defined as something that is intended to influence you, or it has the appearance or effect of influencing the performance of your duties. It also applies to your relatives, but having said all that, it is okay to receive an honor or an award that's under $150 or less. Okay, so this could be you've served on a board for 8 years and someone wants to thank you and honor you. It could be the board itself, it could be the city, it could be a fraternal organization, a professional organization, whatever. Someone is saying thank you. As long as that gift is $150 or less, you are fine. You do need to inform the city treasurer if you receive any unauthorized non-monetary property. So if someone gives you a gift, within 7 days, you need to inform the city treasurer of that. You can easily do that by email, Mark Manning, and that is M-M-A-N-N-I-N-G, M Manning at wichita.gov. If you just inform the city treasurer, that is within 7 days, that is a very good action and is stated in the policy. If you take that action, that will help keep you out of hot water. Now, you may want to return that gift and just return it to the sender if you can. If that's too difficult, you can give it to City Treasurer Mark Manning, and he will take care of that. If you're keeping the gift, you need to report it. So, for example, it could be an item that's it's $50 or more in value. Over $50 in value. So then that, if it's under 50, then it's fine. But if it's over 50, then you need to report that on the form that the city clerk has for annual reports of gifts. But best is just to do it at the time while you're thinking about it, so you don't wait till the end of the year and then forget. So for elected officials, a few highlights that apply to you that do not apply to the appointed board members. The policy does advise you to use your time wisely so that people see the value of their tax dollars, ensure expenditures are in the interest of the city, and 3, cooperate with other officials and employees, and 4, avoid the appearance of improper influence. Also file your annual report with the city clerk that lists the gifts valued at $50 or more. Use city equipment and resources only for official duties, not for campaign duties, not for personal use, not for political use, only for official city duties. Also refrain from interfering or expressing an interest in the hiring process. Now there may be some times when your assistance as an elected official is engaged in the hiring process, like for staff in your office or certain key department heads or something. You might be on an interview committee or something like that. That is completely fine and different. This is for undue interference in the hiring process. So, for example, constituents will say to you, oh, I know someone who could be great at this job. What do they need to do? Or will you recommend them? Or they think that talking to the mayor or city council will help. And what you just want to do is just let them know that, hey, I am not involved in hiring. That person needs to go through the normal process through human resources and file and apply for the position, but I am not involved. I think it's the easiest thing to say. Don't say, oh, I'll talk to the city manager about that. You just say, I'm not involved. If they're persistent, obviously you could talk to the manager, but it would be more of this is an FYI, not as an influence. Also, then finally, remain impartial when conducting city business, and again, read the policy carefully and read it occasionally as well to keep it top of mind. Now, as far as gifts for elected officials, it really is okay to consume complimentary food while you're attending a meeting or an event. If your presence is requested at an event and they're giving you the lunch or the get in the door for like a nonprofit organization, an educational institution, a political or policy-based organization, community development, or faith-based organizations. Those are all called out specifically in the policy as okay. Now, elected officials, also a little advice about your appointment to the Ethics Advisory Board. You appoint people to this board and you approve appointments by the other council members. So you'll want to make sure before you select someone for this board that you have read the Code of Ethics carefully, and that when you talk to this person about considering being appointed, that you make sure they have read the Code of Ethics carefully, because especially the section about qualifications, because the qualifications to serve on this board are different and higher level than other city boards and commissions. So you want to specifically deal with this board differently than the others. You want to discuss the requirements for them, for the appointees. Specifically discuss each requirement with them and request that the city staff take care of the background check on this person prior to you bringing up in a city council meeting their appointment. That is different from other city appointments, so it will save you and them any embarrassment if something is found in a background check after you've brought up their name in public. So that's no bueno. You want to make sure the background check is completely done before making the appointment. Now, city employees do have a code of ethics. It is not this one. It is not about the Ethics Advisory Board. There's no involvement at all by me, the ethics officer, but there is a policy and they should look to their Human Resources Policy Manual for that information. One last thing is retaliation is a big word, but it can be a small thing. For example, the policy clearly says do not retaliate against anyone who files a complaint against you, for example, reports a violation, what they think is a violation, or gives testimony as a witness. So you do not even want to talk to anybody, say anything to anybody that could be considered any kind of coercion or intimidation or discrimination, anything. If a complaint is filed against you, you're going to be angry, you're going to be in shock, and you're going to be thinking, what did I do and how do I fix this? But you just want to take a beat and do not talk to anyone who is a witness or a potential witness or who is the complainant. Best not to do anything. Let the process run its course. And the process is, once the Ethics Advisory Board, once we get a complaint, we investigate that and we determine what needs to be done next. You will be kept in the loop as the person who the complaint is filed against. You'll be kept in the loop as much as possible, and you will get information directly from me, the ethics officer. And so you just want to make sure you do not try to talk to anyone involved, lest it be considered any type of retaliation or interpreted that way. Now, last slide is who to contact. You have access to me if you have any questions about the Code of Ethics or interpretation, meanings, definition, etc. I'm available by email, kathy.sexton@wichita.edu. That is kathy.sexton@wichita.edu. That is a Wichita State email address. That's different from city email addresses, which are wichita.gov. This is wichita.edu. Feel free to ask me any questions about this. On this last slide, you also have that same QR code from earlier to get you to the right page on the wichita.gov website that gives you more information about the policy and how to access everything that we've talked about today. Again, thank you for your service. We appreciate you, and thank you for listening.